Hey guys, what's up? It's Book BFF Melissa. I'm doing a 2013 wrap-up for the whole year, all of my favorite books that I read. I read about 115 books, so I'm not going to go over all the books that I read, but I'm going to show you my favorites. So these first two books I'm going to start out with, they kind of go hand in hand. I have Parallel by Lauren Miller and Pivot Point by Casey West, and they're both parallel universe books. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about these books that often, but they were honestly so enjoyable because it's like just a unique concept. I haven't really read any kind of parallel universes before. This one was more like kind of like a fluke where it's like something shifts with the earth or something, and that's why she's the only one that goes through the parallel universe. And this one was more of like the girl is clairvoyant and she can see into the future kind of thing. It's just a cool concept. So you guys should definitely check these out if you think that that's something that you would like. So this next book I was kind of reluctant to read because I didn't like the cover, but we picked it for one of the Book BFF's Book of the Month. So I read it and I really am so glad that I picked it up. And that is Golden by Jessie Kirby. This one, I don't know, the cover just didn't really appeal to me, but the inside was golden. It was amazing. It's about this girl who finds a journal from this girl that was in her town that died. It's like kind of her unlocking the mystery of what happened behind this girl's death. And in that, she kind of unlocks this love story that the whole town didn't know that this girl that wrote this journal loved somebody. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just this whole thing of kind of like people aren't what they seem. Like you don't know what's going on in someone's life and you can't judge them. So definitely I recommend this one. It's definitely one I will be rereading again, so I'm glad that I bought it. I talk about this next book all the time, so I'm sure this won't be a surprise to you. But I read The Fault in Our Stars this year, and I really, really enjoyed it. The writing was phenomenal. It was hilarious. It was sad. It was everything that you could ever want in a book, and I will definitely also be rereading this again. I'm sure everyone knows what this is about, so I'm not going to go over that. This next book, I read it very recently, and once I was finished, I was literally rocking in a corner somewhere because it was just, that ending just killed me. It was just so good, and I need book 2 right now. And that book is Just One Day by Gail Forman. If you've read this, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. That ending was very harsh, and I am still, like, just thinking about it is making me so angry because I need book 2, like, right now. So this one is about a girl who goes to France, she goes to London for, like, a trip over the summer, and she meets a guy, and then she decides to go to France with him for just one day. And it's really more of like a story about her kind of discovering herself. But I don't know, it's just so good. It was like everything that I like in contemporaries all in one book. I just need everyone in the world to read this book so that I have somebody to talk about it with. So please, if you've read this, can we please talk about it? Because no one else that I know has read it, and oh my god, it's just so good. It's so good. This next book also left me in a huge book hangover, and I was also freaking out afterwards, rocking in a corner somewhere, and that is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. But thankfully this one doesn't end on a cliffhanger because there's only a companion novel after it. It's not a series, so that was good. At least I wasn't like, Just One Day basically just like ruined my life. But this one was very sad at the end, and usually books can make me teary-eyed and they make me feel lots of emotions, but this book had me crying so hard. Like, I think The Fault in Our Stars, I kind of, maybe like a little tear trickled down my face, but this one, I needed like a box of tissues. It was that bad. It was just, it was such a good book, and you guys, okay, so let me tell you what it's a little bit about. It's about this girl who's homeschooled, and she decides that for her senior year, she wants to start going to public high school. So she goes, and then she meets this guy, and it's kind of about the relationship developing, but then she starts to kind of unlock secrets from her past that she didn't even know that she had. And it's kind of just them discovering her life and all these things that she didn't know about herself. It's just so good. The next one I wouldn't have read if Ree hadn't sent it to me, and that is Goodbye Rebel Blue. It's about this girl who, she's in detention, and she meets this girl that has been in her school forever. She kind of just like knows of her, but they're not really friends. And the girl ends up dying. In detention, they had to write a bucket list. So she finds this girl's bucket list, and she ends up trying to complete the bucket list because she feels like she has to. And it's really good. It's kind of like a self-discovery book as well. In between each chapter, they show Rebel's bucket list that she wrote when she was in detention, and they're really funny things. We got number 2 is go for a job interview at the pork shop and answer all the questions in Pig Latin. So I thought that was really funny. So if you know me by now, you know that I love Jennifer Armentrout. So of course this one's going to make the list. Wait for You by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And this one is new adult. It's about a girl who is in her first year of college and she meets this guy and he obviously is interested in her, but she has secrets in her past and she's not ready to date anyone. This is kind of just like cat and mouse type of thing. It's fun. And of course, all of the characters in all of Jennifer Armentrout's books are witty and funny, and it's such a good book. So if you like new adult genre, even if you don't, if you like the upper YA, where they're like 18 years old and in college or whatever, definitely pick up this book. And then the last standalone that I picked was How My Summer Went Up in Flames by Jennifer Salvato Doktorsky. And this one is about a girl who, she sets her ex's car on fire. So her parents sent her on a road trip with her next door neighbor who's been her best friend forever and his 2 friends, kind of just to get her away from her ex because she's kind of like a little stalkerish, and I think he has like a restraining order on her or something, so they just send her away to kind of, you know, put some miles between them. If you like road trip books, I definitely recommend this one. Like if you like Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, I think it was kind of similar to that, so definitely worth picking out. Maybe wait towards the summer because I feel like road trip books are just like summer books, you know? I would like to get into the series that I started in 2013 that I really enjoyed. So I started Reboot by Amy Tintera. It says 5 years ago I died, 178 minutes later I woke up, and it's got a barcode. This was so good. It was about a girl who is in this kind of like dystopian futuristic world where when you die, if you come back to life, you come back as like almost like a robot, it seems like. The longer that you're dead for, the better robot you'll be when you wake up. So she was dead for 178 minutes, and that's like unheard of. So she's like the most soulless killer out there. It's so good. And then this guy Callum comes, and he was only dead for 22 minutes. So he's like one of the least dead people there, and it's about them kind of like learning about each other because she is his trainer. If you guys have not heard of this or have not picked it up yet, I definitely recommend it because I feel like this is going to be a big series soon. This next series, I really don't know why I waited so long to start it because it's really, really good, and it is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. It's about a girl that lives in space. Her and her parents are very like important people in the government, so she gets to go on the spaceship with them, and they get frozen and put into like these ice chambers or whatever, and then in a certain amount of years ahead in the future, they're going to be unfrozen, and then they're going to start life on, I guess, a new planet. She ends up getting melted or unfrozen before it's time, and it's kind of like once you're unfrozen, you can't really be refrozen, so it's kind of like her trying to figure out who unfroze her first of all, because there's all these like deaths going on the spaceship because somebody's unfreezing these people before they're supposed to be. So it's her figuring that out, and then it's also her kind of like adjusting to this new life. It's very interesting. It was like a murder mystery on a spaceship. What more could you want, you know? And then I started Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I just read this one recently, and I think out of all the books, all 115 books that I read this year, I think this is my favorite. And it also kind of reminded me of Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, and Aladdin. The main character in this book is she's a slave because she was an assassin and they caught her, so they bring her to like this kind of like a concentration camp. And the crown prince comes to her and is like, my dad's putting on this contest to find a new champion for his guard, and I want you to be my contestant or whatever. So I thought that was kind of like the same thing where she's going to like volunteer to go live in this castle with people that she hates. She loves books, and one of the characters gives her books and lets her use the library. So I thought that was kind of cool. It reminded me of like Belle with her library. And it reminded me of Aladdin because the main character is kind of like a street rat, like Aladdin is, and the prince is kind of like Jasmine, where he wants to kind of get away from his dad, get away from his mom, who's trying to make him marry all these people that he doesn't like, and he's done with the royal life. He wants something else. And I heard that somewhere, I think it was in the back of this book, the main author got the idea from Cinderella because she was listening to the music from the movie, like the score of it. The author was like, what if she was running away because she was an assassin and she was there to kill the prince or something, and like that's what sparked her mind into writing this book. So basically, if you like Disney, I would say pick this up because it really reminded me of all those three movies. But it doesn't remind me of Disney. It's just like those three movies, the aspects that I mentioned. But it's fantasy, it's a whole new world, and it's just like awesome. And yes, I realize I just made a pun by accident when I said whole new world and I'm talking about Aladdin, but yeah. Alright, and now I want to talk about series that I continued in 2013 that I had already started. So, The Evolution of Mara Dyer is one of my favorite books of all time because this whole series just messes with your mind. Like, you think you know something, and then you read a little bit further, and everything you thought you knew is completely different, and it's just so good. I said in one of my videos earlier that I feel like no one talks about these books, and I'm gonna stick to that. I think on BookTube, I've only seen witty books talk about these. Or witty novels, sorry. So I haven't seen anyone else talk about these series, but I love them, and I think that this was probably one of my favorite series that I continued in 2013. And I also continued the Shatter Me series with Unravel Me, and I really loved this one. I loved this more than the first book, I think, because we had what was it called? Fracture Me? No, that doesn't sound right. I don't know. The one that was in the middle, that was from Warner's point of view, it really gave us like an insight to his character, and I think that made me enjoy book 2 more because I was able to relate to him and kind of, I liked him at that point, so definitely enjoyed this one. Then as far as my series that I finished and completed in 2013, there were a few that I finished. I think maybe like 4. The Unearthly series, I finished Boundless this year, and that one was probably one of my favorite endings that I've ever had because there was closure. I didn't feel like I needed to know any more answers to any questions that I had. They were all wrapped up, and it was the ending that I wanted because I'm team whatever. I'm not going to say which team I was on, but my team won, and she picked the boy that I wanted, so I was very happy, and yeah, those were my favorite books of 2012. Let me know if you've read any of them, if you're planning on reading any of them, and what your favorite picks of 2013 were. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.